afternoon. Out on the trails again, as you can see. So a few weeks after the end of my last walk, and you can see I'm a bit more laden than I normally am on these walks. So I'm putting in a 3-day stretch today. I left Gerrards Cross about half an hour ago, and today I'm walking up to Amersham and into Metroland. Talk a bit more about that today. And then the next 2 stages I'm going to do back to back. So from Amersham to Hemel Hempstead tomorrow. I'm going to finish up in St Albans. So it's going to take me 3 days. It's about 40-50 kilometres, not loads, but long enough. But yeah, a bit behind where I wanted to be on this walk, so out here and getting it done. Clocks went back at the weekend, so it's not lasting as long in the evenings as it was before, but we're going to see how we get on. Hopefully get to Old Amersham by the time it gets dark. So the walk today takes me past a lot of the Chalfonts. So you've got Chalfont St Peter, Chalfont St Giles, Little Chalfont, all in a row around here, and walk kind of skirts round a lot of those. But importantly today we're going into our first national landscape, what used to be called Areas of Outstanding Natural Beauty, and this is the Chilterns National Landscape that we are now in, an extra area of protection. And the other aspect of this walk is pretty much under where we are now, under our feet, is where the HS2 Chiltern Tunnel is running, and that's one of the longest tunnels in HS2, another bit of infrastructure like we were talking about the other week, and that runs pretty much from the M25 in that direction to Great Missenden. Just navigate this gate. And that's a matter of great controversy, that we will probably talk about a bit more as we go on this, and it's very much the feature of this area, and you might see some of the construction areas around as we approach this area around here. So as we progress on, it's worth talking a little bit more about what we mean by Metroland, and it's this whole concept of this area that was opened up for development really in the early part of the 20th century, when the whole area was served by the expansion of the Metropolitan line. And it was unlike other expansions because it was where the Metropolitan Company, or the Met, they bought large tracts of land around where they were expanding, and they held on to those large tracts of land, and that's where they built large houses and large housing estates rather, and they attracted people to move out of London and to say, come and live in this amazing part out in the countryside. You can have the best of both worlds, live in a nice house but also access London at the same time. So that whole expansion out to Rickmansworth, out to Amersham, was a huge thing in that area, and a huge area of expansion of housing, with these clever marketing campaigns that went alongside it. So then by the mid 20th century, the whole spirit of Metroland was very much evoked by the great poet John Betjeman, and he wrote numerous poems about Metroland, and there's a great BBC documentary, you can find it online, it's worth a watch, called Metroland, in which he travels the railway, goes out to these new areas in his nice suit and talks about them, and talks about the new developments and new architecture along the way. So it's a really nice afternoon, kind of early evening, but that sun is disappearing quick. And I've got a long way to go on this walk. I'm only halfway, so probably a fair bit of walking in the dark on this, so better get a move on. Just leaving behind a very lovely village of Chalfont St Giles. Not enough time to stop, unfortunately, because the light is fading and I've really got to press on. So, as I said earlier, we are now in one of our first areas of outstanding natural beauty, or national landscapes they're now called. This is the Chilterns National Landscape, and I'll tell you a bit about it. It's massive for a start. It covers about 880 square kilometres, so it runs all the way from here right the way in a big kind of arc northwest of London and takes in Buckinghamshire, where we are now, goes into Hertfordshire as well, and all the way out to Oxfordshire. And it was first designated in 1964, and it has protection under Acts of Parliament and also heavily within national planning policy to protect the beauty, as you can see, and the character of it. It's one of 34 national landscapes in England that carries the same protection, and it's the first of 3 that we are going to go through on this walk. We'll also later on, as we get right the way around the other side of London, go into the Kent Downs National Landscape, and then finally the Surrey Hills as well. So it's going to be a feature of our walk for the next, I guess, this stretch and a bit of the next 2 as well. We'll be walking through it, and certainly it's not without pressures to also build. The whole of the Chilterns National Landscape is a place of work for 80,000 people, but also there's 1.6 million people live within it, so the pressures to accommodate population growth are significant, but it has that added level of protection. It makes it very hard to build anything within the national landscape without demonstrating that there are exceptional circumstances to do that. Just nearing the end of this really nice walk now, just coming up to Old Amersham in a bit, where I shall take my lodgings for this evening. That light is just held on, looks a bit lighter in this camera, but it is pretty dusky now. But yeah, another walk in, and should just reach Old Amersham before it properly gets dark. And then off again tomorrow, when my walk will take me from Old Amersham past Amersham, kind of main town, Metroland, and then up to Hemel Hempstead. Talk a bit about new towns and see what else we can do tomorrow. I'm not going to leave it too late, get out there tomorrow, so we're not chasing the sunset like tonight. Hope you enjoyed this walk. I really did, actually, really nice. And stay tuned for more to follow.